we've called a QR emergency meeting for reasons which should be pretty obvious. Someone let Philly cheesesteak a little spending spree.
Someone left the wallet out again. Fuck's sake. Philly always gets it. They think he'll just buy lunch for the employees, but no, he just buys more employees.
He comes back with Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Like, can I get a tuna sweet corn? Comes back in with that contract to 70 billion. Not quite what I meant, but I'll take it, I suppose. Big. I don't even. Where does this start and where does it end?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, obviously, to break it down, to make it official for anyone literally just clicking on this video, Xbox, Microsoft have purchased Activision Blizzard. I don't think everything is absolutely final, but it's final to the point it's been agreed both ends, and it's official. It's all over social medias, everything like that. And yeah, I think the final price went through at almost 70 billion.
70 billion, like, hello,
which is like a good 50 plus.
That's like the economy of like small countries.
I know, it's crazy, and I think it beats the biggest acquisition to date for a gaming company, or just a gaming company by about 50 billion. Yeah,
it's just tiny margin. Yeah. Well, the Bethesda purchase was just beneath the biggest purchase ever, which was obviously 7.5. The biggest was Tencent on a Finnish company. I think I said it was called Supercell. I can't remember the name. That was like 8 billion. No, sorry, that was like 12 billion, and now this is 70 billion.
70, yeah,
like 5 times the amount at least.
Yeah, and for anyone unaware, Activision is known for their things. Their works with Call of Duty is probably their biggest, I guess, but it's also Activision Blizzard, so anything under Blizzard. So you got Overwatch, you got World of Warcraft, you got Diablo, you've got what am I missing? Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft,
Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot.
Literally just
Tony Hawk,
an insane amount, and then obviously Call of Duty thrown on top of there. All the studios to work on Call of Duty, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, all that all comes under Activision Blizzard, which Xbox have now purchased and made part of the family. So obviously that means first party. Games Pass.
I mean, this is a conversation we will get around to. I think at the very least we can be confident in saying at this point that everything under this umbrella is going to be Games Pass, probably day one Games Pass. I don't know how they're going to deal with this down the line. I'd like to think it's all just going to get chucked in, but I think we're very possible with the amount of money that this costs. I think it's very possible that down the line we're going to be looking at either just a Games Pass price increase, which was going to happen at some point anyway, or like a tiered approach. And we've spoken about this with kind of the Ubisoft, like possible Ubisoft Plus edition. But yeah, okay, there's so much to get into that. Yeah, I don't really know where to start. I mean, obviously you said, because you said, Activision Blizzard are known for all these IPs. They're also known for some pretty shitty people. Yes. Another conversation in of itself, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how Xbox manages all of that. But so let's just start at the most exciting, like I guess, just the acquisition in and of itself of Activision Blizzard, because we've spoken about like the possibilities of like studios or publishers that Xbox could acquire, and because there has been like weird like rumors along the way of like they're looking at Take-Two, they're looking at Ubisoft, they're looking at EA, and we've always been like so like where does this sit for you on like the possible hierarchy of like what would have been the most exciting publisher acquisition, and where is this on that kind of hierarchy?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, yeah, we did discuss the Ubisoft in a previous episode, and I think Ubisoft have got some bangers. They got some great IPs and some great studios working under them, but I don't know. There's something about. I mean, I'm a big fan of Blizzard games personally. I play quite a lot of Blizzard games. I see them having a lot of polish and very well made games underneath that the studio. So I don't know. It's quite tough to say, but because Call of Duty is so big, but I don't really care for it. But
Yeah.
I know just how big it is, and if we're talking potential exclusivity or you know over onto Xbox for these sort of things and games, day one games pass and stuff like that. I mean, that's about as big as you can get something like Call of Duty, right? I mean, it's
Yes.
literally one of the giants of gaming. So
Yeah.
um, it's very up there for me. It's bigger than the likes of Ubisoft. And what was the other one you mentioned that we were in
I said
discussions with?
EA, but there was another one
EA,
we have been discussing, which was Warner Bros.
Warner Bros. Yeah, um,
Now, I think for me,
I'd probably
Warner
like
Bros would
Warner
have been
Bros.
like
Yeah,
Warner Bros would have been like top tier. I think it fills all the spots. I think it
yeah,
like for me it fills in some of that like superhero like um element. Like DC. I think that would have been
mm,
really cool. Um, but this is like I find this more exciting than a possibility, and I can't even believe we're having this fucking conversation. But
mm,
like, I find this more exciting than like an EA or a Ubisoft acquisition. Like, if you had asked me like 5 years ago, would you be having a conversation about which publisher you'd prefer Xbox to buy? I'd have just
yeah,
shat myself there on the spot. But yeah, I think this is like you say, and I think this for me, this is mostly a Blizzard thing. I think as much as and to preface, we're fully aware that the company is going through some shitty sexual harassment.
yeah,
That doesn't take away from the artists and the teams that are there. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the quality of the studios and the products they put
yeah,
out. I totally agree. We loved Overwatch back. We had like a good year period where we really, really loved Overwatch. We've loved Hearthstone in the past as well.
yeah.
The fact that that's under their portfolio, I think, is really exciting. Um, Imagine like a like Slay the Spire-esque kind of like Hearthstone. Be dank, be wicked.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it also, and I don't think the thing is, this has been we've recorded this as quickly as we could, but I think
Yeah.
it fills in the gap. Like, so I haven't had time to like read impressions or anything, so I'm sure other people are talking about it, but it fills in the gap that we've been talking about, which is that Phil has said many a times he wants kid games, he wants E-rated games.
Mm.
Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. What the fuck?
They're
Like,
big. Yeah.
mascots. Xbox don't have mascots,
Mm.
really, other than the pillars. And like, I know they're built, their work, that's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Those are mascots.
But you're kind of right though, because our mascots, they are they're like 15 and 18 plus mascots, aren't they? Master Chief, and Marcus Phoenix, all that sort of stuff. They're not E for everybody mascots. Whereas Spyro and definitely Crash Bandicoot are. And I feel like Xbox have been looking for this in the past, and people have been begging for like a Conquer reboot, as because that was considered like a
Yeah,
mascot way
yeah,
back in the day. Again, it's not really a children's kind of one because it was quite a mature game, wasn't it? Like quite
yeah,
mature themes and stuff. So yeah, it definitely does fill that gap. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
yeah. So I like so yeah. So I mean, I guess that's where it's at, kind of in terms of the excitement level. And like, really, I need to go and like have a look at like the actual IPs that fall under Activision Blizzard, because I don't know if they have lots or if they've been one of those companies that has really just slowly acquired studios and then restricted their production to like just one, like obviously with Call of Duty.
Yeah,
And I think when we had a quick chat when this news broke, we I think a lot of people are going to see this, and they're also going to react a bit weirdly because of the whole difficulty Activision Blizzard have been having in
yeah,
the press. But I think they're also going to see it as like, oh, Xbox has acquired Call of Duty, uh, and not care. I mean, I say not care. I'm talking about like the core game, but of course, to the casual audience, this is a really big deal. Whether or not it goes exclusive or not, Games Pass is obviously a big deal.
yeah,
Nonetheless, COD has like 3 studios working on it. Is that really necessary?
Oh, mate,
Like
more than
3
that.
good studios. Yeah. And it's so, and like this is what like we always say about these studios. You know, I think it's a pretty commonly held like belief that these games that get milked into like annual franchises, they're still good games. It's just like you can tell the creative potential has been sucked out of it because like they're on like a treadmill
Yeah.
and it needs to be out the door and there's no real time for experimentation, prototyping, and the likes. If you like, and this is the way I think of it, there's a couple of people who left Infinity Ward like after Modern Warfare 2. Those people went and made Respawn. Those people went and made Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2, and Apex Legends, which have all been bangers across the board. And Apex Legends has been sitting like at the top of the FPS genre, you know, in like the top 5 contenders basically for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about these teams that are making CODs, if they are given space to breathe, you know, I imagine Activision Blizzard will still be operating largely independently, but as a part of Microsoft, hopefully they'll be given space to breathe.
Yeah.
We don't need a COD every year, goddamn it. Slow it down to 2 years, 3 years, you know, because especially I can't imagine Xbox are going to want Call of Duties like cannibalizing on their Halo. Like, you know, they aren't going to want that. So slow it down. Let those teams like pick up some new IPs, and I guarantee those will be bloody good games if they drop, you know, COD or they actually work on other games.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This was actually something we talked about, and the fact that we can give these studios room to breathe to make other things, and whether or not these are things that, you know, Xbox have had in the works as potential IPs and they're just looking for the right studio to take them on, or whether or not they're just going to be like, hey guys, you know, what do you fancy making? Take a break from COD, you know, let's see if we can get you on a new project, sort of thing. And yeah, it's all very exciting because they are talented studios, because, you know, COD games, as much as they're churned out, they look great and they play great, and they tend to have, you know, the developers that make them kind of put their own spin on them, so you can definitely see the differences between them every year, and what they excel at and stuff like that between Treyarch, Sledgehammer, and Infinity Ward. So yeah, it's just really exciting, and I couldn't agree more. I don't know how the public will react to not having Call of Duties every year, because I think it definitely has that stigma about it where everyone's just like, oh, just leave it to, you know, bake longer and make better games. But I do think if we were to just be like, okay, Call of Duties are now once every 3 years, or something like that, I do think the public would also miss having a Call of Duty every year, and that I think
Maybe.
could impact quite negatively.
Maybe. I just feel like there's a good opportunity for them to, because, you know, considering Warzone is like an ongoing games as a service thing now, like that's there all the time. Fair enough. Battle Royale wasn't for everyone. That's fine, even though I'd imagine that's probably snatched most of the mainline COD audience.
It has, yeah.
I think there's just a good opportunity for like one of the teams to remain on COD and make a separate games as a service COD, because they don't. I mean, I know they update the game, but they update it for a year and then, you know, it's like it's a couple of pity updates and then it's dropped.
Yeah.
So you know, make the game, deliver it like give it some innovation, a breath of fresh air. You know, they don't need to like constantly go back and forth between this like, oh, here's a big innovation. This is boots on the ground. I was gonna do. Here's boots on the. Like, it's this like whole like nauseating cycle like every 3 years. You know, they can just release it and they can add to it, and then they can take feedback from the community and actually work like massage it into the game rather than like having to hard reboot every single year. So like that's, I think there is space for that, but I think, you know, I think you make a good point. Like outside of us, like the vocal online nerds, you know, is your casual gamer going to be a bit surprised when they start having a look around November time? Oh, wait, what's the new COD? Oh, there isn't one this year.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I do think that will have a negative impact, because a lot of people do look forward to a Call of Duty every year. But then, I don't know, there are other things to play. Maybe as a result of that, they move over to Halo. They, you know,
Exactly.
because that's a games as a service that's constantly getting updated. Or if Call of Duty's in a state where, like you said, it's just being focused on more as a games of a service and given more attention in that way, and it's getting a breath of fresh air every 3 to 6 months, like something like Apex Legends. Does everyone really need a COD every year anyway? If it's being looked at and given attention, that the way it is, if it's done like that. So it's really hard to tell, but I'm definitely on board with taking away the Call of Duty every year, giving them a bit more creative space, and just focusing on more of the games as a service, which goes well into Games Pass as well. It's the perfect model for something like Games Pass. So, I'm definitely more pro that.
Yeah, because I think I think when I'm trying to just figure out what the exact studios, just so we can kind of go through them one by one. And I had them up earlier, but I've since lost them. Do you have them up in front of you?
I do not right now. No.
It's okay. There's
that
graphic. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
It's on my notes. Hang on, because I've got it. There's the graphic that Xbox posted, which was Xbox Plus Activision Blizzard. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we obviously got Treyarch. We got Raven Software. We got High Moon. We got Beanox. We got I can't read that one on the bit of paper.
What does it say? Let me have a zoom.
I'll leave that to last. Infinity Ward, Demonware, and then what's that? Toys for Bob, which I presumably is the Candy Crush studio.
Yeah, the one on the piece of paper as you described it, that was Sledgehammer Games.
Sledgehammer, yeah, of course. Okay,
yeah,
four studios like that work on God.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? It's so unnecessary. It's just
it is crazy. Yeah, so much potential there.
So there's 8 studios there, one being a mobile, so half of them work on COD. Like, it's just crazy. And like, I think, like, as you say, you've got to imagine that once this deal is closed, and as the article says, they're reporting to the I don't know, Phil was flexing a new title, wasn't he, in the article? It was like CEO of Microsoft Gaming. It's like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Once that happens and that ink is dry, they I've got to imagine that everything they do is now got to be part of Microsoft's wider strategy. I think they're going to be given some autonomy, just like a lot of autonomy, like Bethesda will. But overall, they're still playing into Microsoft's strategy if they're reporting up the org chart. And that's what's making me think that that hopefully there can be a bit of gas taken off on the Call of Duty, and one of those 4 studios at least can go and do some stuff, because they clearly have I just think they they're good teams, and they need to be let onto something else. And I think that's probably what we all think.
Yeah, for sure.
So beyond that, let's just is there any particular IP here that you think like is there any, like, what comes to your mind when you see this and you think, wow, what could I get as a result of this? Like, obvious, other than it being like straight to Games Pass, like, what could I get as a like fully optimized exclusive game made for the Series X from one of these studios? Like, what is kind of ringing your bell?
I mean,
not an expression.
The first thing that came to my mind when I saw it was Diablo. Really, it was Diablo 4 being potentially exclusive, built for the Series X, next gen only sort of thing, and obviously PC too. So yeah, I'd say Diablo was probably the big one there, but I don't know, for me also, just literally one of the first things that came up was like, are we going to get ports? Like, are we going to get a lot of these really popular PC games like World of Warcraft and StarCraft and all these kind of ones? I mean, just those two off the top of my head. Are those going to make their way to a console platform? Like, which is pretty big. Like, that's pretty huge. I mean, I don't think we've ever really had something along the scale of a World of Warcraft sort of game on console before. I mean, we got like ESO and stuff, but I still don't think it's nearly as big as World of Warcraft in terms of expansions and content and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So for me, it was definitely Diablo 4, and then ports of the current really popular Blizzard titles over onto consoles potentially.
Yeah, definitely with you there.
Candy Crush on console.
Yeah, let's go. Bring the Kinect back. Candy Crush Connect. Yeah, being big Diablo 3 fans ourselves, I think that is a game I'm definitely excited for. It's been it's the development of that game has been a bit weird because they've shown gameplay like a few times over the last few years with like classes and stuff, but like no release date in sight. Um, Definitely excited for the future of that. I am excited for an Overwatch 2 when that inevitably comes. It seems it's still going to be a while off, which is probably fine because the FPS market is a bit stuffed at the moment. And yeah, I think what you said about the PC ports to console is really interesting because I think this really this is the other angle of it. It really deepens Xbox's like commitment to PC. Beyond there being IP, which is like historically PC only with StarCraft, and World of Warcraft as well, like you say, Heroes of the Storm. Like bringing that stuff to console is really, I think, helps just embed that kind of commitment to PC. And it's like, look, we're treating these platforms as one of the same. This is all you see. All of this, it's all Xbox.
Yeah,
this whole planet, it's all Xbox now.
Yeah.
And Guitar Hero. Let's not forget Guitar Hero.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see another Guitar Hero. Mate, I used to love Guitar Hero. Not gonna lie.
I know. I just kind of past it, aren't we?
Yeah,
not we. Just like
it's a bit of a fad, wasn't it? It was one of those sort of.
They must have made a lot of money though. It's just...
I think so. Yeah, I mean, they even did like spin-offs with like Rock Band and stuff like that. Those were the studios and stuff, but it was obviously very popular and they obviously sold really well. I don't know. Maybe they'll bring it back in some fashion, but
yeah,
it
would be another like E-rated like IP that if Xbox wanted that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just I think it's just like auxiliary like peripherals have really gone out of fashion. Like motion controls and like if someone has to buy like a 70 quid controller and a 50 quid like fake guitar, I think people are kind of like not sure about that.
Guitar Hero VR, it's coming, dude.
I mean that. I don't know. Is there any point in that? Is there any
could be pretty cool?
Well, I guess so.
Like you're playing on stage and holding a guitar, and it could be cool.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay, that's great in terms of IP. I'm like I said, I'm sure there's more I'm missing here. I'm like looking through the Wikipedia page to see if there's more that I like am not seeing. Some of these games are ultimately published by other studios. Prototype. Yeah, Prototype is retained by Activision. 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand.
Huge. That's massive.
Brutal Legend. They still own Brutal Legend, do they? That's funny.
Yeah.
Considering that was Double Fine, and Double Fine are owned by Xbox. The Chronicles of Riddick, Ghostbusters, the video game. Yeah, they have dipped their toes in licensing a few times, haven't they? Hang on, what is something that's being published by them? Something big is being hang on, hold the fucking little phone. Hold the little phone. There's a big licensed game that Activision are publishing, and I can't remember what it is. Is it?
I don't know, dude.
I think I know what it is.
What is it?
I think it's 007 by IO Interactive.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's a thing, isn't it? They announced that was a thing.
Yeah. I remember it being a thing. I just didn't realize it was related to Activision. I'm going to be honest.
I seem to remember them saying it was going to be published by Activision, and I might be wrong there, but I'm just going to really quickly check on the wikis. Project 007. Okay, not the wikis, just on their website. I think it was that. If it wasn't that, it's something else. But that would be interesting because, as we know, Xbox are getting quite snug with IO Interactive now. We know they're supposedly working on Project Dragon, which is big MMO RPG sort of thing. Which is a while off. We've just seen the Hitman trilogy come to Games Pass, or this week. I can't find any confirmation, so I'm really hoping I'm not lying to you, but I just really feel like that was going to be published by Activision.
I mean, I'm drawing a blank on it. I didn't realise that was a thing. But I can give it a quick look.
Yeah. That's fine.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we we talked about obviously potentially Destiny and stuff like that falling under that umbrella, but obviously that's not. I think we came to the conclusion that Bungie are still independent, and it was just published by Activision, wasn't it? So Bungie are not
Mhm.
under Activision necessarily.
No, we were so close. We were like a couple years off having Destiny back because obviously they were
Yeah,
owned by Activision, weren't they? And then they split off, but they were still published. They still published their stuff, I believe,
yeah,
on PC.
yeah.
Blizzard did because it was on the Blizz launcher on the or whatever it's called, the Blizzard launcher on PC. But yeah,
But I mean, yeah. I mean, long story short, it's big, right? Don't want to waffle on too much,
it's
um,
big.
but
Well, that
yeah,
is true. That is true. And I guess I think I've just got one like note on a bit of paper here that I did want to go over,
yeah.
which was uh, you know how you know how with the acquisition of Bethesda, and then the fact that Halo came out and actually was like quite good, they sort of became the king of first-person shooters. What the fuck are they now? Galactic Emperors of first-person shooters?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess so.
Doom, Quake, Halo, COD, like Overwatch, hello? like
Yeah, I guess we are
Wolfenstein.
FPS, right? With a platform for FPS at this point.
Like as yeah,
That's
it's
it's kind of
absolutely
crazy when you
bonkers.
think about it. Yeah, I mean, Sony might have their single player narrative sad dad games, but we have every first person shooter that's ever been made. Okay.
Ah, you can't believe you've done it. It's alright, nobody can see the dislikes anyway. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll be fine. I was joking anyway for anyone actually
There's
triggered
no
by that
such thing.
statement.
Irony is
No.
dead. But holy crap. I mean, we'll see how as because I guess like the other big topic is kind of like exclusivity. Um, you know, so and I think this is really interesting because I have a couple of notes here about that. Which is okay. So I mean, so what are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts on these IP, on these games, on these franchises being exclusive?
I don't know, man. It's hard to say how something like Call of Duty becoming exclusive is going to impact the ecosystem of gaming. That's kind of
Just the ecosystem, full stop.
just
Fish will
the
just die.
yeah, exactly. Just might need a new planet, everyone.
Monkeys
Um,
will fall out of trees.
yeah, so it's really hard to say how something like that would work, and just like next year or the year after, whenever this deal officially goes through or whatever, like pulling those off of other platforms is kind of crazy to think about. Um, and then when you think about the likes of something like what was it, Overwatch 2, and what was the other one we mentioned? That was another one.
Diablo.
Yeah, Diablo. Like, are those going to have like a Deathloop Bethesda kind of thing to them? Like, because technically now we do own Activision Blizzard, but those games have been in development for seemingly quite a while, and they probably have agreed platforms that this game would be on prior to development or during early development or something like that. Um, are those games still going to be seen on PlayStation and other platforms, or are those going to be
Yeah.
exclusive? It's kind of hard to tell. You really, I kind of can't answer your question. um,
Well, I think we kind of can. I think to a degree we can, and this is without looking at any of the other sort of like insider stuff, which is never like entirely accurate on the day that these things have broken anyway. But we can look at what Xbox are doing with Bethesda. Um, Obviously, well, I mean, it is on a bigger scale. I mean, it is
mm,
in terms of money, but in terms of like gamer mind share, I mean, I would say it's probably about the same.
yeah,
Having the developers of Skyrim is a big deal. As big, if not bigger, than COD.
yeah,
So when you look at Xbox's strategy, and we know that Redfall and we know that Starfield are going to be exclusive, we know that someone's crunched the numbers. You know, it's also going back to this whole like debate that we had like 2 years ago. You know, like, well, they're just going to leave money on the table, and then the other side of it is like, well, you don't spend, you know, billions and billions and billions to not lock stuff down to your console. So I think what we can establish is that there is definitely a precedent for games to be made exclusive. In both cases, for what we have announced, they are new IPs, Redfall and Starfield. However, in both cases, they're also both games that have been in development for maybe 3/4 of their development cycle anyway. Presumably Starfield was halfway done on PlayStation anyway, and they just dropped it. You know, so I don't think Xbox are beyond saying, nope, stop. Stop. I think because I think someone has crunched the numbers and decided that it's worth the loss on that port to boost Game Pass sales. You know, and I think, you know, it's we can also say that I don't think they're going to yank stuff off platforms. We can look at Minecraft for that. We can look at Elder Scrolls Online for that, Fallout 76. I think they're going to continue to support those communities. And that's exactly what Phil said, actually. So that's a really nice segue. I didn't even mean to do that. Nice. So, like, just reading straight off the article from Philly himself, the end of the second paragraph is Activision Blizzard games. Actually, I'll start from the top. The fantastic franchises across Activision Blizzard will also accelerate our plans for cloud gaming, allowing more people in more places around the world to participate in the Xbox community using phones, tablets, laptops, and other devices you already own. Important part. Activision Blizzard games are enjoyed on a variety of platforms, and we plan to continue to support those communities moving forward. I was reasonably shocked. I have a note on that if you want to see it on the notes. I've got it like highlighted there. I'm reasonably shocked to see that addressed in that way because, like, I feel like this is a repeat of the Bethesda thing, like of saying, you know, is this a confirmation of like we're going to continue to support those games that are already out and our service games, or is this like we're never going to make an exclusive game? Because, like I said, I think there's a good precedent for these studios being used to make exclusive games. I just, you know, it's just drawing that line of that middle ground, and I think we're safe to assume stuff isn't going to get ripped off, and we're safe to assume new IP will be exclusive. The stuff in between, I guess, remains a bit of a question mark.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was trying to say. Is stuff that's kind of already in development, late into development. It's a question mark. You don't know whether you're going to see on both. Stuff that's already out is not going to be ripped off, I don't think. And I think that statement there pretty clearly says that they're not just going to remove those things from the PlayStation Store. You know, like you can no longer download Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls or anything like that. It's going to stay on every platform, I think. But I would agree that with the money spent, fucking 70 billion, new games coming out from these studios, you got to make them exclusive, right? You just kind of have to for that sort of money. It would be so weird not to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. But it's just what I found difficult to answer was Diablo 4, Overwatch 2. Like, how will that play out? But you made a very good point with Starfield, where I'm sure that it was being developed on both platforms, and then they just came in, bought him, and he was just like, "You see that recycle bin over there? Just put the PlayStation copy in the recycle bin for me."
Yeah,
I'm sure that happened. So
yeah,
who's to say that won't happen with these?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, you know, it's still an unanswered question for Bethesda with a lot of these. You know, we had this conversation about, well, and I mean, this is the other side of it, right? Like, we had this conversation about like Wolfenstein 3, you know, and the whole legacy thing. We'll support legacy, you know, games on other platforms, things like that. Wolfenstein 3. Will that be exclusive? And then, of course, we had the article, and we made our own video, which you can go and check out if you want. You know, www./quickvision podcast. That Phil was saying Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be exclusive. He just straight up said it.
Yeah.
So that makes me think. If they're willing to go on like the record that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be exclusive, Overwatch 2 will be exclusive. Diablo 4 will be exclusive. The next Call of Duty, probably exclusive. Like, it really does make me think that. And the stuff that's already there, like Warzone, will maybe stay. That does make it a bit weird because then, like you said, have access to the Call of Duty IP, even, but you won't be able to buy it for your platform. That, I think, that is a bit of a funny one. But yeah, that's the other wrench kind of in the works there. If we're willing to make Elder Scrolls exclusive, I think nothing's really off the cards.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, Elder Scrolls Skyrim is probably the biggest game ever, right?
So bloody well up
just
there, yeah.
just ever. So yeah, making the sequel to that exclusive really, it's just the sky's the limit, right? You can kind of do whatever you want. So I think it's safe to assume that a lot of these probably will be exclusive for future development.
Yeah.
But obviously, no guarantees. We're only speculating. But yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify, by the way, I've been having a quick look online, and Activision aren't publishing. It seems IO are publishing Project 007 by themselves, from what I can tell. The reason I got confused is because Activision did own the license for Bond, which they don't anymore. So maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe I'm just having a stroke. Not really sure. There's always a chance. But that's where that kind of lies.
Cool.
Just to top off the kind of exclusivity topic, in the Bloomberg article that reported on this whole nuke, there was a particular sentence I just wanted to pull out from it, which says, Microsoft plans to keep making some of Activision's games for PlayStation consoles, but will also keep some content exclusive to Xbox, said a person familiar with the company's thinking. So obviously an anonymous source that Bloomberg has managed to query about this. So again, it hardly confirms or denies anything, but it's the middle ground somewhere. And I think if we're to look at how they've handled Bethesda, I think, as bold as it is, I think the assumption is rather safe to say, pre-existing stuff, stay as it is. Anything new, it's going to be exclusive.
Yeah.
I think the only question mark that really remains is really mainline Call of Duties, just because that separation of having Warzone on one. Having said that, I guess Fallout 76 will be on all platforms, and the next Fallout will be around, and Elder Scrolls Online will be on all platforms for the next Elder Scrolls. So maybe they just don't care,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm putting my cards on the table. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's what's happening. I think everything else is going to be exclusive.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Otherwise, why spend 70 billion? Yeah, I'm definitely along that line of thought as well. That line of thinking.
Yeah, great. So the final sort of thing I wanted to go over today, on this kind of thing, was the whole leadership thing. It's hard to not really talk about. Obvious, and this is when we spoke earlier about the kind of the hierarchy of excitement of what we kind of had there been the different publisher acquisitions. This strikes me as an opportunity buy. This strikes me of there's a lot of sexual assault going on at Activision Blizzard. They're looking awfully rough. Better snatch them up.
Yeah, we could probably get 10 billion off because of this.
Exactly. I think. Well, I was having a look because I think that I pretty sure I had a look. I saw some numbers on the Bloomberg article, which is worth looking at. It's a good article actually, and I'm pretty sure it said that since the beginning of 2021, the stock had halved. So their worth had effectively halved.
Damn.
And you're looking at that and you're saying, if we want to propose a purchase, now is a good time. Generally, Microsoft and Xbox have shapen up in the last 10 years in terms of being pretty clean.
Yeah.
Right. In terms of reputation. So I reckon Activision Blizzard are seeing that opportunity and saying, this is an easy reset button for us, in terms of reputation. And the big question I think does remain, how is this going to be managed now? All of these horrible things that have been happening, people have been going out on strike and stuff, will Xbox be able to step in and, encourage, the victims to speak up and, shake stuff up really, because you'd hope so, but what I would hate to see is to be having this same conversation in 2 years' time, and now everyone is complicit. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. Um, yeah. I mean, it is. I think you're right in the sense that it kind of just helps them in the sense of, like you said, it kind of just gives them a reset button, and it kind of just gives them a new coat of paint, right? To just be like, oh, we're part of the Xbox family now, all this sort of stuff. Um, and then I think, obviously, I think Xbox are gonna have to address it, like 100%. They're gonna have to probably just be like, we're gonna go through everything. We're gonna fucking like out everything. We're gonna clean house or whatever, and then essentially just fresh start sort of thing, right? I do think they have to address it in that sort of way.
They
100.
did address it in the article, um, on the Xbox article. It was a light addressal, but
Yeah.
they did. I'm trying to find the exact paragraph. Yes, here it is. Yeah, okay. So, as a company, Microsoft is committed to our journey for inclusion in every aspect of gaming among both employees and players. We deeply value individual studio cultures. We also believe that creative success and autonomy go hand in hand with treating every person with dignity and respect. We hold all teams and all leaders to this commitment. We're looking forward to extending our culture of proactive inclusion to the great teams across Activision Blizzard.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
So they're kind of just going to be like, we're going to take poopy bad Activision Blizzard, and we're going to bring them up to our standards. We're going to cut all that shit out, and it's going to be kind of like a fresh start. And like you said, I do think that it was a case of, with all this shit going on, I'm sure Xbox did see an opportunity there, and kind of just pounced upon it. Got some great studios working under us, and we'll sort them out.
yeah, but because I think that was a question going through people's head. Obviously the big boy Bobby fucktick Bobby Kotick,
Yeah,
is the guy who's like raking in an extraordinary amount of money, and then has like gone on record saying, I'm not going to take any paychecks until this is sorted, which is like fine, but like this has been going on for a while, mate, and it's like these
yeah,
kind of, you're sitting on like 500 billion in your bank account, so like it's a bit, it feels a bit empty.
yeah.
Nonetheless, I think a lot of people were kind of hoping that Microsoft would just kick people out, and I just don't think that's really the right way to.
No,
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that. So I think, like you said, I think you said it right. It's like you're going to be on our standard now, or then or we're going to have a case against you to
yeah,
essentially shut you
exactly.
out.
Yeah,
If you can't rise to our standard, then get lost.
and I mean, there is going to have to be an element of, obviously, if it's fact and if shit comes out, you have to. You're going to have to fire people. You're going to have to axe them, whatever. You can't just be like, all right, forget about the past. You're on our standard now. If shit comes out that's
Mhm.
actually damning, then the axe needs to be dropped,
Yeah,
which will have to be done. But yeah, for the
yeah,
majority of it, yeah, for just the overhaul of it, as a
yeah,
whole, yeah, it's just going to be a case of, we're holding you to these standards now. Um,
yeah,
Fucking do it and make good games for us.
yeah. Yeah, make some good games. So while you're at it, if you wouldn't
Yeah,
mind. Brilliant. Well, I mean, I've covered everything I want to speak about today. This will be an evolving thing. We don't have like a confirmation of the timeline. It was the same when Bethesda got bought. They said
yeah,
when the deal closes, we elect Y and Z. Same here. We don't know when that deal is going to close, but this strikes me as a very similar situation to Activision Blizzard, though the only to
Bethesda.
Bethesda. The only difference I see here is that I actually can't think of any games that are on the imminent horizon coming from Activision Blizzard. Whereas we had that with Bethesda, so we had those questions of like, is Starfield going to be exclusive? Is Redfall going to be exclusive?
Mm.
Um, Deathloop and what's going to happen with Ghostwire Tokyo, and obviously that panned out in the funny way that it did. But because we don't have that here, this could be a quicker moving. Like we could see action from this sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say, because if the ink dries, let's say by May, it's probably a bit soon, maybe by the end of the year, and then they say, okay, well, Diablo's done, it's coming out January 2023. It's going to be exclusive, by the way. because we haven't. That's how it is now. So
Mhm.
I think we'll see how the timeline evolves, but I think it's very possible that this could be quicker moving in terms of benefit for Xbox users than Bethesda was.
Yeah, I think so. And it's interesting it was done right at the beginning of the year when things like every Call of Duty release is very late in the year, right? So it begs the question of what's going to happen with the 2022 card. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's kind of when, like you said, when the ink dries on these contracts and everything is actually set in stone. But I'm sure these
Yeah,
talks are had. But
I think some of those bigger structural things that we're hoping for will take a bit longer, just because they'll still be acting as Activision Blizzard at the moment, and so they're not going to change the way they're working now. They'll just be
yeah.
go ahead for a 2022 card release, and then
Oh yeah.
we'll start thinking from there onwards about what can happen after, about taking some developers off COD and everything and giving it more time. I mean, hopefully, because I think we did have, before the Bethesda deal closed, I'm pretty sure we actually had some Bethesda stuff drop into Games Pass. I can't remember exactly the timeline, but I think not all of them, but I think a lot of them we did. So hopefully we start to see that get injected in as well.
Potentially,
yeah.
Ugh, yeah, I could see that potentially happening. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, well, that's everything today. If you stuck with us through this exciting 45-minute foray into Xbox's newest acquisition, I'm looking back at the notes and I'm like, that's weird. It's so extra weird because we've had the whole year of dead silence. 2021, everyone's been like, Xbox is going to make moves. They're going to make bigger acquisitions. Sony has just picked people up. Embracer Group has swallowed all the tiny fish in the planet. Every studio with less than 40 people. And everyone's just been making moves, and then January 2022, we'll swallow the next biggest planet. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back with our weekly podcast. If you're new here, we generally record on Sundays and put our videos up on Mondays. We try to do that as consistently as we can. But other than that, we will catch you on the next episode.
Bye.